Good evening, everybody. This is the first video vlog edition of Hot Cash from the King of Spice. That's me, Bo McBrayer. So last year, the year before that, I'd write this big long article. I'd have a really well thought out, long-winded intro. We're going to keep it short and sweet this year. We're going to put it on YouTube just like this. Make sure you like and subscribe at the Nimble with Numbers YouTube page. Bookmark it. Set the alerts. This is Hot Cash from King of Spice. These are my top DraftKings DFS plays for cash games. So your head-to-heads, your 50-50s, even your multipliers can work with this. I'm going to go through my quarterbacks first. Spend-up quarterbacks, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson. Enough said. Justin Herbert against the Las Vegas Raiders, who can't stop anybody. Herbert is an elite quarterback. He's going to put up an astronomical season this year. It's going to start right now in week 1. Lamar Jackson, he's playing for all the money in the world. He's going up against the New York Jets, the goddamn Jets. They're in the way. Lamar Jackson wants to get that $400 million bag that he saw his buddies Pat Mahomes get and Josh Allen get. Lamar Jackson's going to be scorched earth this year, and it's going to start week 1 at the New York Jets. Going down, mid-price, under 7K, Jalen Hurts. That's a smash for no matter what the format. I believe he's going to be the chalkiest quarterback on GPP slates. Doesn't matter. He's a smash pick at 6,800 against the Lions in Detroit. Going down a little bit, I like Trey Lance at 6,000, but I love Derek Carr at 5,900 because they're going to have to throw a lot to keep up with the Chargers, and that's just volume play. I want to look for volume. I want to see guys that are going to have to throw it a lot. They're going to have to catch up and keep up through the passing game. So give me Derek Carr. And I'm going to go way down here to the bottom, Jameis Winston of the Saints at Atlanta. Atlanta's got a defense that's A.J. Terrell and not much else. And this is a Saints team that nobody's talking about, but they will be soon because Alvin Kamara is back. Michael Thomas might be back, but Chris Olave is special. He's an elite route runner, elite separator, and even though he's listed as the wide receiver 4 on the depth chart, don't overlook him. Jameis Winston's going to throw the ball a lot at Atlanta because, I mean, they really aren't going to have much of a up-the-middle running game with Mark Ingram. Moving on to the running back position, of course, your top guys are all great plays in cash games. Jonathan Taylor at 9,100, Derrick Henry at 8,600, Christian McCaffrey, probably the lowest he's ever going to be this season at 8,500. I am enamored with Austin Eckler at 8,200. Give me all that. He's going to go ballistic against the Vegas Raiders. Even doing a little running back quarterback stack with him and Herbert is okay in a cash game. It costs you a lot of salary, but it's definitely worth it with all that upside. Alvin Kamara, we mentioned him before, another great option in cash. He's only 7,600. That's insane to me. I can't imagine him not paying off at that price in a cash game. James Conner is a good one at 7K, a little bit overpriced for the Chiefs defense. They're going to want to run the ball with all their receiver injuries that they've had. But my favorite running back to play in any format this week is DeAndre Swift of the Lions hosting Philadelphia. I am not convinced one bit that the Eagles have made enough adjustments on their defensive personnel to stop the Lions running game. They're going to get punched in the mouth, and the Eagles are soft as Charmin on defense still. Aaron Jones at 6,700 is super underpriced. So is Najee Harris for all the volume he's going to get. Skipping through, Saquon Barkley, 6,100. He's going to get a ton of work. Antonio Gibson, 5,800. He's going to get a ton of work. I don't get these prices. You have a lot of guys that are way overpriced and a lot of guys that are just simply underpriced. You can't really go wrong at the running back position towards the top in cash. So spend up, get the best guys. And if you want to save some salary down there at the bottom, go with Michael Carter of the Jets. I think the Jets are going to get their butts kicked. The Ravens are going to be scorched earth this year, like I said. Michael Carter is a good receiving back, and if he's out there on the field in garbage time, he can get a lot of free PPR points. Moving on to the wide receiver position, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, of course, Deebo Samuel. Maybe. I'm not sold on him in cash as much. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, pretty much any receiver for the Chargers is green flag racing for cash games. A.J. Brown, of course, paired with in a skinny stack in a cash game is fine. Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown are going to be fun. Jalen Waddle is interesting because the Patriots are going to focus on Tyreek Hill for good reason. I think Jalen Waddle is going to be the guy that breaks out. Hollywood Brown, good option. Amon-Ra St. Brown is severely overpriced, and I like Amon-Ra St. Brown as a player, but at 6,100, that's way too much for a guy who's possibly only the third receiving option on his own offense. T. Higgins is a smash spot at 6,100. That is a cash game, easy, lock it in. Him and Deontay Johnson at 6,000 are absolute killer values in cash games for all the volume they're going to get. Going down, Darnell Mooney, another good spot there. The 49ers are not good at corner. Darnell Mooney is a really nice option. He's going to get over 100 targets this year. Might as well start in week 1 against last season's 23rd ranked pass defense against wide receivers. The easiest choice for cash games this week is Michael Pittman Jr. of the Colts at Houston. Only 5,500. He's going to be chalky as all get up in GPPs. But in a cash game, you're not as concerned with that. You just want the points per dollar value. Michael Pittman at 5,500 is a huge mistake by the DraftKings algorithm. He's a wide receiver 1. I would say that I would argue the same about Devontae Smith, maybe just to his lesser degree. Same price as Pittman at 5,500, but he's going to get enough volume against Detroit to pay off. Rashad Bateman's a good choice, but down here, Elijah Moore of the Jets in a garbage time role. I just don't see how the Baltimore Ravens can cover a guy that's that good. They weren't able to do it last year. They gave up a ton of points to the wide receiver position last year. Elijah Moore, whether he's catching balls from Joe Flacco, Mike White, Josh Johnson, Zach Wilson, it doesn't matter. This guy's a stud. Only 5,100. That's an easy choice. Going down, you can definitely spend down at wide receiver this week. Chris Olave, 4,500 for the Saints. He's really the only show in town getting open besides Kamara if Michael Thomas is out. If Michael Thomas is out on the field, Olave is a great GPP flex. And down here, you can go down pretty far, but for cash games, you want to keep most of the salaries in the middle range. Kadarius Toney at only 4,100 is a decent option at Tennessee, but I'm looking at George Pickens. He's a starting outside wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's got a big upgrade at quarterback over last year. George Pickens is fantastic. Like he's the real deal. If he can keep his head on his shoulders and stay out of trouble in the NFL, this guy's going to be something special. And Cincinnati was not that great against wide receivers, 21st last year. They didn't address the position either. Another cheap cash option, Braxton Berrios of the Jets, just like Elijah Moore, but way less exciting. Josh Palmer, the third wide receiver of the Chargers. We mentioned all those guys are green flags. Sky Moore, not for cash. David Bell, slot receiver for the Browns. He's about as low as I'll go for a cash game at 3,600 at Carolina. Carolina's tough on outside receivers. They have some really talented young corners. David Bell is an elite separator from the slot. Give me all the David Bell, just trashy PPR, 10 yards a catch points. It's not going to be pretty, but he's going to score points. That's about it for those. Tight end and cash games, of course, Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, Kittle. It's too much of a red flag for cash games. If he plays, I'm playing him in GPPs just a little bit. Kyle Pitts, going to get enough volume to pay off in cash at 5,700. This might be the cheapest we ever get him. The two guys next to Pitts in the salary cap order, Darren Waller, TJ Hawkinson, they're both completely underpriced against terrible defenses versus tight ends last year. And both the Chargers and the Eagles made some improvements to their defense, but neither of which should be enough to slow down Darren Waller and TJ Hawkinson, especially if the scoring amps up. Dallas Goedert's also underpriced at 4,500 against Detroit. You can play him. Going down, Gerald Everett's a sneaky play for 3,800. The tight ends were targeted pretty heavily in the Chargers offense last year, and Las Vegas, of course, can't cover anybody. The farthest I'll go down is if Zach Ertz does not play, Trey McBride at 2,900 is a great value tight end for the Cardinals. As far as defense goes, just go cheap as you can. The Lions and the Eagles, I don't expect them to score enough points, but look at the Chicago Bears. They're only 2,200. They scored 6.2 fantasy points per game, and we don't know exactly what Trey Lance is going to look like at Soldier Field in his first real start after a full camp of taking number one reps. Another favorite of mine, the Vikings at 2,200. I'm not sold at all on this receiving core for the Packers. And so I think the Vikings are going to be able to get after Aaron Rodgers and force them to be one-dimensional. If I'm going to spend up, I'm going to spend up very slightly to the Miami Dolphins at 2,600 against the Patriots. Again, I'm betting against Joe Judge. I'm betting against Matt Patricia. I'm betting against awful coaches with a terrible receiving core. They better just run the football. Otherwise, they have no chance. This has been Hot Cash from the King of Spice. Make sure you check me out on Twitter at Bo_McBigTime. Go to bigtimeflavor.co. Get all your spices and your hot sauce. Thank you for joining me. See you tomorrow on the Twitters, on the Red Zone channel, and we'll see you again next week for Hot Cash Week 2. Have a good night.